This is a Podco original.
Yeah.
I'm deeply offended it took me 8 episodes to get on, so.
And then he like stopped it and he just did these and I think I learned how to kiss recently.
So when you go and see a dead body in the morgue, which you've done many times, are you able to still eat? Like, are you able to still drink your coffee?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
a Slurpee?
Actually, yeah.
Just tell me, is he a kept man?
Oh, mine? Was I there?
I thought you were there, but I literally remember being like, "Grr!" We're on a podcast.
On a podcast?
We are here with somebody who I always get asked if I know because we were on Pretty Little Liars together, but I never crossed paths with him once across the
Never.
set.
And I
Ever.
made out with him.
Brant,
I feel like
is it Daugherty? Doherty?
Doherty?
You're all wrong.
Oh.
Oh, it's Daugherty.
Daugherty.
Yeah.
Doherty.
It's got that sound.
Yeah.
That's really awkward.
Yeah.
You know?
Is it German?
Sounds it.
Daugherty.
No,
Dutch.
it's Irish.
It's Irish.
But do
yeah.
people
Irish
ever
Dutch.
pronounce it correct?
Fun fact,
Daugherty.
no, they don't.
No, they
No,
don't.
never.
I'm just always like, mine is sir and sock. You can't get it wrong.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Mine is
Sir
just
sock.
shawl without an L.
Shaw.
Shaw.
It's like someone just drank a little too much.
There you go.
Shaw.
When I first became an actor, my manager was like, so how do you feel about the last name?
Yeah.
You want to
No.
change it? And I was like, maybe
Yeah.
we should come up with something. And then Pretty Little Liars booked me, and then it was just Daugherty.
Pitt.
Right.
Because what's
So-
Brad Pitt's last name? It's not Pitt. Is it?
I hope not.
No. I think
It's
it's
like Tom
Bradley.
Cruise is Maypother, right?
Maypother?
Did I just?
First of all, you got great initials, though.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really worked hard.
Does
on
your
that,
middle
so thank you.
name mess it up?
David BDD?
BDD. Oh, that's even
Come on.
big.
Come on.
Big,
My
big
parents
damn
just like
dick.
killing it or what?
big damn dick. Dick.
Damn.
See, I like to
Big
think that's what my
damn
parents
dick.
were going for.
Yes, absolutely. They
They're
knew.
like, we just don't want him to be
Damn
dicks.
Dick.
That's what it is.
Oh my gosh. I love your parents.
They're in jail now.
Oh, sad. But
poor
you get to
parents.
see him, right?
So you guys never did any scenes together?
I'm
Never.
sure maybe.
I
in like
remember
a
seeing you
Yeah,
occasionally.
right.
Yeah.
But I don't think we ever like met or did any sort of.
Did you like
interaction
meet
at
off
all.
scene and were you like, hi, my name's, did you even have like a
I
cordial?
mean, I'm not a monster, so probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't remember that, but no, but
So
I was
maybe I
also
am.
just like deeply in my head too, and I
Yeah.
also just didn't like, you know, when you come into a thing and it doesn't feel exactly like your family, you know what I mean? Like you're
Yeah.
coming in and
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
you get it,
Yeah.
right? How many episodes did you do?
I have no idea.
Probably 50.
I'd be surprised
If
it was
I did
that
50,
much.
you did 50, you know?
I probably did less than that, but somewhere
Let's say
around.
36.
I mean,
Let's
I did-
say 36.
I did
36.
45.
45.
That's
So
a
I
lot.
think you both got me beat. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I was around like a quarter of the time.
Why were we
Yeah.
dating?
Why anything?
Why were we dating in the
Right.
show? Was it because I was trying to like fuck with you or something? Or
I have a lot of questions about the Jen and Noel thing.
How did you
No
steal her away
answers.
from Toby?
Exactly.
Huh?
How'd you steal me away from my brother?
He set such a high bar.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was your experience getting Pretty Little Liars? What was your experience before that? Are you from LA? Like,
I'm from Ohio,
okay,
Cincinnati.
right on.
Moved to LA to be a filmmaker. I went to film school.
Wow.
Never thought I'd be an actor. It was like a
Wow.
hobby I had. And I got to LA and started working on sets, and everyone was like, so you'll be an actor. And I was like, I guess I'll be an actor.
So, like, what were you
Is it
doing on the
because you
sets?
looked
I was
like
a
an
PA.
actor?
Okay.
I was a PA on Bring It On 5.
Wow.
Pretty sure my friend Cassie Skirbo was in that.
That was not the one she was in.
Oh, not the one she was in. Okay.
Because I did my homework, and I know.
Yeah.
It
And
was
what did
Christina
they?
Milian. Is that
Oh, so cool.
Yeah.
Was she so cool?
She's the best,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah.
She's amazing. And
Yeah.
then years later, we were on Dancing with the Stars together.
Oh my god!
And it was like one of the best moments of my life. 'Cause She was
Brilliant.
like, she was like, Brant,
Yeah.
are you working on this show? And I was like, I'm your competitor.
Oh, I
So
love
when
that.
you were a PA, did people just assume that you were an actor? Did they think
Yes.
like, why are you a PA? And,
Yes.
and I don't mean to be, super obvious, but is it because you had a face of an actor? Is that
I'd like
you
to
have
think it
the
was my,
face of an actor?
brilliant mind.
Yeah.
Right.
They're like, he's so smart.
He's pretty and heartless.
Yeah.
Pretty heartless.
But is that why they just?
Yeah,
felt that
I would
you-
be on set, and people would be like, "Hey, let's throw Brant in the background of this scene," and they.
Oh, you're one of those.
the
So
AD
you
would
you
get
like Austin
pissed.
Butlered your way in.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious.
Is that
Austin,
what he did?
Austin Butler was a background character on Ned's Declassified.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
And he would be featured all the
Oh,
time,
wild.
Yeah.
right? And then from
That's
there,
how you
he
get
got
it.
his agent and manager. So like, yeah, baby,
wow,
that Pache doing
Good
work
for
for you,
him.
right?
Good for him.
I
Super
know.
nice guy, by
I
the
know.
way.
Oh,
He's a friend of my
really?
wife's. Yeah.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's
and
so
good for him.
lovely.
He's so successful right
Oh my
now.
gosh.
He's killing it.
Right?
Do you want that success? Is that something that excites you?
I mean-
not financially, just, because sometimes I think, well, yeah, who doesn't want that success because it comes with a lot of great perks like money.
Sure.
But do you want that because that's what you want in your life, to be super successful in the film business as an actor?
As I get older, I'm working a lot behind the camera. So
Mm-hmm.
I would take a more anonymous amount of success.
Right.
That'd
Yeah.
be fine with me.
Yeah.
I would take it. It'd be amazing, I'm sure. I'm super happy for him. But I work in a slightly different way than he does.
Mhm.
So I would love a broader success than that as a writer, director, actor,
If
producer.
you never acted again, would that gut you?
Yes.
Okay,
It
so it
absolutely
is
would.
part of what you want to do. For the rest
Yeah,
of your life.
I've been a theater nerd since I was a little kid, and acting was always like this thing that I wanted to do, and everyone was like, "You shouldn't do that. That's fucking stupid. Go do something else." And I was like, "I'll do film." And they were like,
Right.
"Oh, that's a technicality. You got us there."
Yeah.
That's an industry.
Sure, and you get paid.
Wow. So what finally made you be like, okay, I'll try my hand in front of the camera? Like, did they really have to twist your arm, or was it like?
Yeah.
One of the actresses on Bring It On 5 had, I would run lines with her, Holland Roden.
Oh.
Lovely, lovely person. I adore her. And I would run lines with her because I ran base camp on that movie.
Right.
Right.
And she was like, "I'm going to introduce you to my agent." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." And I didn't really follow up on it. And I was busy doing other things. And then dramatic pause. My dad passed away. And then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's go for it.
Right.
Like, life's short. Let's do it. And so I called Holland and I was like, I want to meet your agent. And then it just snowballed from there.
But obviously, that was such a turning point in your life, losing your dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was like 23 at the time. And I was like, you know what? I could not go for it and live as long as he did, maybe, or less or longer. And who knows? Let's try.
Because he was pretty young,
He was 57. So
Yep.
we're all getting there.
right? Fuck. It is like, that's, yeah. I hear people passing that are like younger than my mom or in their early. I mean,
Right.
like, what? Even that? Yeah.
And sometimes it's not even old age. It's just people get in car accidents,
Right.
So it's this idea that if you live your life, that this is the day that
Yeah.
like something could happen tomorrow, then I think that you take those opportunities and you
Yeah.
hold them by the
Yeah.
balls.
Yeah.
Lindsay.
I mean, I've been holding
Lots of things.
They're
by the
blue.
balls.
So how many auditions in did you get this audition for Pretty Little Liars? And what did you think of it when you
This is probably like
got
a
it?
year into my auditioning. That's when
Okay.
I got Pretty Little
Were you
Liars.
disheartened at all at this point? Did you think it would take that long? Were you
I had done 2 jobs before that, but
great.
neither of them were. I did a kids show,
amazing?
which was a fucking nightmare.
Kids and dogs don't work with them.
There wasn't even the kid. We were like a lesser version of Power Rangers.
Oh,
You're right.
yeah.
All day, non-union. So they would bring us in every day.
No one gets fed.
No
No-
schedule.
no water.
No food. There's like Cliff Bars
Tap
around. They're like,
water.
"Fuck you. You'll eat it."
No.
Every day they would bring us in at 7 a.m. I'd go through full hair and makeup. And then sometimes they would just decide not to film anything with me.
What?
And they'd be like, "All right, well, it's
Like
5
that's Pretty
p.m.
Little
Go
Liars
home."
for me. Sorry, did I say that out loud? I'd be like all day, and I'd be like, "Wait, when's my scene coming up?"
Oh my gosh.
So I was like, "This is what acting is, huh? Well, this sucks."
wow.
Yeah.
And so you get Pretty Little Liars. What do you think when you get the material?
I mean, I was a one-day guest star. Was like,
No shit.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what they hired me on. Possible recurring.
Yeah.
So I felt like
What?
I was like, this is like an audition for
Right.
for more work to
Right,
come.
right.
Yeah.
So it was fun. It was like I get through some party and I got to play foosball.
That's right.
It was like it was a good time.
So
I had a
you
good time.
were only supposed to come in for you literally walking up to Hannah and them outside with Sean. That
Yeah.
was it.
that could have been it.
That
yeah.
could have been
And
it.
then
That
they
was
thought-
all I was ever promised.
But then they thought you were A for a a few
Yeah.
episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you were
later that
kissing-
season. Yeah.
And you were kissing like the lead girl.
Yes,
Was that strange? Because was that your first kiss on set?
it was. Yeah.
Does that feel weird?
It's always weird. I'm going to be honest. It never
Yeah, it's
doesn't
weird.
feel
Right.
weird.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it's never, I don't know, I get asked this all the time. Like, how do you do kissing scenes? I'm like, there's a boom mic over you and there's a
Exactly.
director like, turn your head more this way. And so like mechanical and weird and like that it ever looks good is a miracle.
Right?
yeah.
I could always feel Shay the minute she was over it. And I'm telling you, it was like one little
lips,
peck in. Like they became like brittle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I
No
was like,
tongue
no,
anymore. What
stop.
happened?
Like,
Her
come on.
lips start curling back into
Right?
itself.
Just like,
It's just teeth.
and you know how they like, they let it go for like a little second, like while you're
Yeah.
doing it. And I'm just like, please.
Can we please stop?
No, oh my God.
I think the worst is kissing when you actually, it's so much easier to just peck. Like you and I think kissed like once or
Yeah, it
twice or
was
3
never,
times,
like,
like 3 things.
intense.
It was not like this intense like sexual moment. But I think the
Oh,
worst.
it wasn't for you?
Oh,
I mean, it was.
I thought I was really bringing it.
Listen,
Oh.
I was so young. I was just like, I get to kiss people today. I was happy with whatever. But I just think that, you know, when you actually have to make out with someone, and I've never used my tongue because I thought you weren't supposed to. So then you're just like doing this weird sort of up and down movement with you. When you look at scenes now, even with Arya and Ezra, and they're just like, you think that they look
Like a fish.
Yeah, you don't really want to see the big old tongue like coming out,
because
but
you
can see
think
that
you
there's-
do. But then
you
when you do
don't.
see the thrust, you're like, oh my God.
I'm so
She didn't
uncomfortable.
deserve that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm not. I'm
my
like
God.
uncomfortable. Yeah.
My goodness.
You
I'm
don't
gonna
wanna see the
actually
tongue.
tape the next time that I'm like deep in somebody's mouth. I actually learned recently because I've been making out again after a long sabbatical
proud
from
of you.
physical touch.
Good for you.
Thank you. And I realized like I was still in my 20-year-old mindset of like, yeah, stick your tongue to the back of my throat. Like, let's like cut each other on the side of our lips, like on our mouth. And then he like stopped it and he just did these and then and I think I learned how to kiss recently.
You're like,
Oh.
and now I've officially learned how to make
I've
out.
learned how to kiss now. And it's so much
that's
nicer
amazing.
when you don't attack like
Yeah,
there.
it's so much
and you
nicer.
hit all these little points on the lip that are just like so
Makes me
sensual,
wanna make out
so
with
love.
you.
I know, let's
Aw.
go. I finally learned.
But don't you think, Brant, that the older you get and the more you're with someone and you've got kids, like you don't make out as much? Like I have sex,
Yeah.
but we don't make
good
out.
for you. Look at bragging over here. Wow.
We have sex. I'm having sex right now.
I'm totally having sex all the time.
You just don't know it. It's like right happening right here. But like we have sex, but
We
most
just
of
don't
the
look
time,
at each other.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Most of the time, there's no makeout before. It's just.
I wouldn't know this.
I'm looking at you.
I haven't had a long enough relationship.
Don't you think you make out less?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's no make out anymore.
I mean, we still make out here and there,
Sure,
but
like
it's not like we used to.
it's just not. There's no like that, you know, when you're kissing. When I first met my husband, I remember he tried to kiss me and I was like, no, don't kiss me.
Tried.
Yeah, I was like, don't kiss me, don't. Oh, I'm such an innocent little, no, don't. For,
Oh,
for
my.
like hours. And then when he kissed me, we just made out for like hours. You know, beard rash,
Yeah,
that whole
oh,
stuff.
yeah.
Who has the
Classic.
fucking time for that? I have children. I don't have time to make out for hours.
Well, you're not in the same level of courting either.
I know I'm going to get the BDDs.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know you're gonna get that thing, so you don't need
I just,
No games.
There's
you
no
you don't need a gift
games.
box for it. You're just like
I don't need a bow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Forget that.
You're right.
And he can lick his hand, okay? It doesn't have to. Sorry.
And we're out.
But you,
go
anywho,
back
let's
to
move on.
Pretty Little Liars.
You had to make out with Shay.
I had to
a
make out with
lot.
Shay.
How was that?
That was, here's the thing. First of all, dream. Am I right? Like, holy
mean,
moly. She's so attractive
Beautiful.
and lovely and just like everything. She's like the it girl.
Smells lovely.
Amazing. Great. She's one of those people who can put her hair up in a bun in between scenes and then just take it down
I can't
without the hair person
stand
coming back
that.
to her.
I'm gonna imagine I know what that's like.
It is
Gross.
It is horrible. It is
I'll have a kink for. I
Oh
just
my
go,
God.
I just put some of my hair back, and for the rest of the day, I'll have a kink with one.
I've
of my,
never seen anything
I've
like it in
never-
20 years.
Thanks. See?
You're welcome. Honestly, she was everything to me. Like she also had this point of view that like I don't just want to be an actor. I want to be an entrepreneur. And she like told me the whole plan she's living out right now. And it was like, you are
yeah.
intoxicatingly powerful. But when it comes to our making out, like I said, it was like that rigid small mouth kiss, you know what I mean? And only pecs. Not that I'm looking for the open mouth, but stay with me in one kiss for a minute. Like just before we're going, it's like chicken scratch up on there. And after we would make out, she would always say, and this is why I wear a nightie around my house, to remind myself I'm a girl.
Okie doke.
How you feeling, Shay? I get it. I get it.
I don't even
know what that means. I was like, well, I'll just be over here like the disgusting piece of trash that I am.
Great.
Right?
We're going to internalize that.
Thanks so much.
Like, I don't even own a nightie.
Right? I don't. Cool.
So that's how that went down.
How do you get told you're on for more episodes?
Just randomly. Like, and episodes had gone by. I think I was like episode 3 was my first one. And then just like 4, 5, 6. And I was like, oh, okie doke then.
That was that.
I get back to the old drawing board.
Right.
Yeah.
And
would
then
you wait? Because I was a guest star too. Would you wait? Like you wouldn't know if you were in an episode till like a couple of days before the episode, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like the script would come out and like you just wouldn't get it.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, well, I guess I'm not in that one then. Oh, shit.
Or how bad was it when they like the table read was that day on set, but you weren't in the next one? So it's like, no, you're not allowed.
One.
We don't need you. Everybody else?
I did a show one time where they sent me the script. They were like, we got you booked. They sent me the script. I read the script. My character wasn't in it. And I was like, hey, am I in this? And they were like, oh, actually, you're not.
Oh, sorry.
You're like, why are you here?
Sorry, you were kept on from the last email.
I didn't get the scripts in between the episodes, did you?
No.
So then I was rewatching this last 12 episodes and I'm talking, because the whole time I was talking about a file. I didn't know what the fuck the file was about. I would
always do that.
First
Who
season.
is this person?
I'd be like, you better get rid of that file. Or not, I'm going to tell everything that you've done. And now I watch it back and I go, oh, the file because I was making out with Toby. I had no clue.
But they didn't give you that.
They don't
information.
give you
no
any
idea. Yeah.
Any reason. I would be saying people's names. I'm sure I said your name at some point. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I would just be like, and I would be sobbing. Like, I'm scared and yada, 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 yada.
You don't know what you're scared
having no
about.
idea.
I remember
who
this
I'm
one
talking
scene
about.
where Toby gets in the motorcycle accident, which is coming up, and I'm sobbing, right? And I was like super committed, and I had to. I actually was sobbing for at least a good 2.5 hours, like his like snot sobbing. And I had no idea what I was sobbing about. So I was thinking about like my dead dog. I was thinking about like all these awful things that could happen. I was like, I was listening to songs by John like Mayer. I was just like, oh, your body is a wonderland. I had earphones in because I had no idea what I was
Oh
crying
my God.
over.
I
Context.
remember at auditions and on set when you were like, I got to get in it, you guys. I'm sorry. I don't mean that because like we still do that and I never take any time that I did that like not
Yeah.
seriously because when you're in it, like there's the world is
Oh,
so
yeah.
real, you know?
I still do that.
A
little bit. I listen to
know. I
music.
guess it's been so long since I've done.
I tell my husband
Any
to
of
abuse
that
me
art,
before an
but-
audition. I'm just like, say shitty things to me. Like you're not enough. You don't put tops on. You don't put lids on things.
You never
you
closed
like-
the cupboard.
You never
Fuck you.
fucking. You left the peanut butter lid off because that's what we fight about a lot. And I'm
You're a
like,
true monster. Wow.
Yeah, for real.
These are the things you come.
Peanut butter lid off. Do you put it away?
I have ADHD. It's a thing.
This is how
Wow.
bad your
That's
relationship is.
insane.
You don't put the lid on.
You didn't put the lid on.
Okay, back to you, Brant, because I really want to talk about. Back to you.
As it should be.
As it
Yeah,
should
for
be.
real.
Okay. So you're like now big on Hallmark, right? Because I see you all the time and I know what they pay. And I'm so jealous because I know every little movie that you have coming out, I'm like, that is lots of zeros that they send you. So how did you get involved in Hallmark?
She's asking. She would have asked this off pod as
I'm like,
well.
how can how did you get involved in Hallmark?
First of all, I'm sure both of you would be lovely on Hallmark.
And
Hallmark doesn't fuck with me anymore because I was
I
on
get
drugs for their
Lifetime
one movie.
movies. I get Lifetime movies. And the Lifetime movies are
I
like
learned that just now. Wow.
Yeah.
are like 10 grand. Like Lifetime movies are 10 grand. They pay you
Oh,
like,
I've done a million of those.
Yeah.
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 here's $10,000. And I'm like, Okay, which sounds like a lot, but as an actor doing something for a month, it's actually not a lot. By the time you've paid everyone,
It's not.
Right.
And they come along, once
Right.
a year, twice a year. You're like,
Yeah,
oh, there's
but
my $10,000
Hallmark-
for the year.
And
Great.
here's the thing, like you think, I guess, yeah, I don't, yeah.
And now I know who to ask for money. If just kidding, if I ever get in the ditches. No, so tell
Excuse me, how many bedrooms is your house?
Exactly. It's 5 with an office. Okay, but it's in Nashville. It's not in LA. Okay, but I want to know how the genesis of you getting onto Hallmark, and then now you write movies that Hallmark is like you put yourself in your own movies.
Yeah,
that you
that's
write.
the best scam
I
in
mean,
the world.
that is crazy. Please, like, can we just backtrack and go and like how that all happened?
Yeah, I honestly have no idea how I got in there. No, I don't know what's going on most of the time.
Right,
You
right.
manifested
Where am I
it,
right now?
right? But did you manifest it? Did you think that you were going to write movies and put yourself in them?
Yes.
There you go.
So my wife and I had written our first script, and I'd never done a Hallmark movie at that point.
Mhm.
And we wrote a Christmas movie, and
Yep.
Hallmark didn't buy that one because we made fun of them a lot in it. It was a spoof.
Oh,
And
It
you
was a
put
satire.
Was it on Lifetime?
No, it went on to Up TV.
Okay.
And
Oh, yeah,
set
yeah.
like a record for the amount of people who watched it. They threw a party and like,
oh,
yeah, it was
More
like,
than granola bars. You got more
I
than the
mean,
Cliff Bar. Yeah.
it was a good. So it was a good time. So my wife and I got to act in that one together.
Oh.
That
And did
one
you
was
use
like we
tongue?
made like $2,000 in that movie. Like,
Did you
we
use
made
tongue?
Nothing. What's that?
Did you guys use tongue?
It wasn't that kind of movie.
Is it weird? Did you find it strange to act with your significant other? Was there anything weird about that? Was it more
No.
intimate? Did you like your work? Was there anything you noticed after?
I like the work because I'm just really proud of the script.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And so it was amazing. Like we wrote
Wow.
it together and we got to star in it together
Wow.
and like be on set together every day. And like
Wow.
I proposed to her the day we finished the script. Oddly enough, like so it was
Oh, in
just
real
like
life?
it felt it felt good to do that. It was amazing.
Wait. So you are like engaged doing this movie?
Yeah.
So when I finished my first script with my husband, we got married the next day. That's so weird. Maybe it's like this thing that you feel like you need to accomplish when you want to be a writer or something that you think like I can now take this next step with this person because we actually got through writing something
It's like we
together.
didn't kill each other during this
Yeah.
process. So
We
like
didn't.
let's go further. Why not?
Yeah.
Like,
That's amazing. So then, okay, so you wrote this movie for Up TV, and then it did really well. So then was Hallmark like little ears prickling up, going, okay, like
So-
how can we do this for us?
No.
no.
They don't bother me in that way at all. We wrote another script or a pitch. We wrote a pitch for a script. But that's the key is you don't write the whole script. You write
Yeah.
the pitch.
Yeah.
And then you sell the pitch.
Yes.
Ooh.
And then you make the money and then you run away.
And then you don't write the script.
So we sold this pitch to Hallmark in 2021 or 2022, something like that.
Yeah.
And it takes years to develop it with the executives.
But they
and
bought
blah,
the
blah, blah,
pitch?
blah. They bought the pitch.
Do they pay you when they buy the pitch or no?
They do. They don't pay you all the money. They pay you
A little
because
bit.
they have the right to fire you at any time. They're like, we're going to buy the pitch. And then if you write an outline, we'll pay you for that. And then if you write the first draft, and then,
Script, we pay you for that. So
Yeah,
it's like
and then
it's
you-
So at any point you can be knocked out.
yeah, at any point they could be like, thank you so much for
Goodbye.
your efforts. You've got your outline money. Now we're going to
How
bring
did
it
you
to an
get-
actual writer who knows what they're doing.
yeah. How did you get the pitch meeting? Was that through an agency?
That was, so I already had my acting relationship with Hallmark at that
Gotcha.
point. I had done like 2 or 3 for them.
So you had an in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my manager
Yeah.
just pitched it for us.
Amazing.
So we sent it to him and he called us a few days later and he was like, they bought it. And I was like, that was the
That-
easiest thing
Yeah.
in the world.
Yeah.
I didn't even have to go to a place and smile at anyone. Like,
Ugh.
brilliant.
Wow.
And then they bought the pitch and then you wrote the movie.
Yes.
And then it got picked up.
It got, picked up. And then we wrote it. We wanted to go to France. So we set it in France
Oh
because
my
we're
God,
geniuses.
That's amazing.
We were like, where do we want to go?
That is so
France.
cool.
And so they brought us to Bulgaria.
Ugh. They brought us to Romania.
And then 1 week in France. We got 1 week in Rouen, France.
Yeah. You're like, it was,
that
so,
was
I
so cool.
manifested so close, but it just wasn't the full.
Wow.
We just,
Kebab.
yeah, the dart just went a little over.
Wait, how did you meet your wife?
We met on a dating app.
Really?
Met on, I don't know how to pronounce them.
Which one is it? Hinge?
Raya.
Raya.
That's
Yeah.
where all the hot people are.
Unfortunately, hit me up.
You're on Raya?
Anybody.
Aren't
I'm
you
not
on
paying
Raya?
$25 a month for fucking nothing, but I am. You know what I mean?
How do you get on Raya?
Really, somebody has to like refer you, but I really want to ask all these men that I'm getting popped up, who referred you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They're
It's
like,
who?
we
I
have
was
trust.
told-
We made money in crypto.
Yeah.
Literally,
Some of
every
these men-
person's there just like, I made money in the crypto in the beginning.
Any
Bitcoin.
man over 6
Cool.
foot is like, that's their calling card. 6'1", because eventually you're gonna ask.
And they're really,
Sir?
they're really
I
5'10".
did not lead
Sir?
with that at all.
You know what I mean?
Did she think you were catfishing her?
No, because you have to, like on Ray, you're like verified. Like it links to
and
your
she can
Instagram.
Google, and then she can Google you. and-
We actually had a lot of mutual friends
Yeah.
and just didn't know each other. We had been in the same place at the same time a few times.
Yeah.
Kind of like you and I.
Yeah.
We just never really met.
Right. But
How you doing?
Hey, it's those incestuous circles though that you like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And
Are
so
in
she-
and you don't even know.
She like asked her friends about me and they like mercifully lied to her and told her
Right.
that I was like a decent human being.
Right.
That
Yeah.
wasn't gonna like do anything terrible.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Were you
so
on
she-
Pretty Little Liars at the time?
This was like 2016. So
Like at the end of it.
Yeah. I think I had already finished my last season.
How long were you on Raya before you found this angel? No, but really.
She I was on for a while.
He's like
like a
4
year,
days.
maybe.
A year?
She was like
$25 a
newly
month for a
single, like,
year.
She had like just signed up for. I was like her second or third date, and like
Yeah.
snatched her up off the market.
Damn.
Yeah,
I need to
Did
find
you-
a model that's only been on there for a couple.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm about to be that discount
Did
shelf.
you ever date anyone on the show that we don't know about? You don't have to say who. Like, was there any? Because we were just saying that no one ever tried to date us.
Well, I mean, I know why that was for me.
Well, no one
And
tried to date
you
me.
were carrying around your baby.
No, that was at the end of the show.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. I was
you were
deeply
with your
upset
husband
about
for a
it, yeah.
while when you were on the show, right?
I guess there's that. I mean, he did
So,
come
but
and
nobody
stay in my
ever
trailer.
tried anyway. How
No one
dare
ever
they?
tried. It would have been nice if they were just like, "Hey," and I'd be like, "No, I'm taken." Did you ever date anyone or like have
A
feelings?
gentleman doesn't kiss and tell.
Okay, but did you
I will
ever have-
confirm, yes.
You
That's
dated
at
someone.
a point, yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
So then, if you're dating someone on the show and off the show, do people end up knowing about it, or do you
I
like
don't
keep
know
it
if-
super secret?
If it was ever like a public thing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it wasn't long.
Yeah.
So I don't know if anyone ever
It's
knew
so-
about it or not.
Mm.
I don't know.
Wow.
You tell me,
Wow.
audience.
Hey. Okay.
But then
well,
you got to keep working together after
Right.
you're not dating anymore, which
and
is
how
like
how does that go?
it's like a forced maturity. You know, like, well, we just got to deal with this.
Right. That's called
and
growth.
That's going to be, yeah, exactly. I can't be catty or petty about
Right.
it at all.
Right.
So, hey, how you doing? Nice to see you at work there, champ. Okay.
And because no one knows who it is, did it just fizzle out because it just wasn't working, or
it was timing more than
Yeah.
anything. You know, there's two things about relationships. There's chemistry and there's timing. And like you can't fake chemistry and you can't force timing.
Ooh.
And we just never got the timing right.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
just wasn't the right time.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, oh, wow.
Wow.
But
But
now
no,
you
I'm
have
learning.
I always think like now you have 2 kids from it. So, I always feel that every relationship is was a chapter and was
Sure.
meant to be that chapter wherever you were in your life. Because I always say to Sean, like, Chris Hemsworth was on the show that I was on. If I just dated him, and he's like, "But you would never have had these kids," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's right.
You're
Damn
like, I would have had
kids.
Thor's kids.
I would have had. I would have had Thor's children, babies. No, but he was such a nice guy. But he was on the show that I was on. But you just never, you never know. You never know what the path's gonna lead.
Do you have sons or daughters?
2 sons.
2 sons.
Yeah.
How old are they?
They are 3 months old. Is my youngest. So, and then my oldest is turned 3.
Oh,
Oh, little babies.
Tiny babies.
What
Just
do
the
you-
best.
What was it like going through the labor as a dude? You know what I mean?
I wasn't
being part of
around
that
for the first
experience.
one.
You weren't around?
no, he was on set.
I went out for a pack of cigarettes and never came back.
Oh,
No, I was
dang.
stuck in
You were on
doing.
set.
I was
I
doing a
remember
Hallmark
that.
movie.
He was on set, and I was watching this whole thing go down on social media, and I was like, "Oh my God, she's about to give birth, and he's not there." And you guys must. I really thought about how your relationship must be so incredible because I would not have been okay with it.
She's a saint, and
I
also
would not have been okay with
the
it.
money.
Yeah.
So,
For that said baby.
but also like I have to earn health insurance for my family,
Right.
And now I have to earn health insurance for my son, And so like it was like I'm like, okay, this is my first sacrifice as a dad.
Oh.
Is like if I don't make it back, the shoot was going to be 5 weeks. She was doing 5 weeks. Like I could have made it.
Right.
And I was like, if I don't make it, like this is my first parental sacrifice for this kid to give you health insurance for a year.
Wow.
And I didn't make it.
I know you were like
Wow.
you were close though. You were
I was like a
almost-
week off.
You were?
She came, my wife gave birth a little earlier, like a week earlier than the
Earlier.
due date. So we were like, most first pregnancies are
I
born
just-
after the due. We're looking up all the statistics,
Right,
like trying to
right.
make ourselves okay with
Totally.
it. Like, go do the movie, Brant, do the movie.
Yeah. Wow.
It's so hard, if I had a third kid, it's just so different by the time you get to the third. All the things that you stressed about in the first one is just not the same
Oh,
for
yeah.
the third. And
I'm sure.
I just remember like I really needed my husband throughout that whole pregnancy and birth that I just don't think I would need him as much now because I feel like I would feel safe and whoever my network was, but your wife being okay with it, I think that's so incredible. And that proves that you think about the bigger picture. Because so much of us are just thinking about the now, and then that could have really affected your work. It could have. There's so many things that could have.
Sure. Honestly.
and then
like-
and then all of a sudden you're not working for Hallmark anymore, and then you're not making money for your family, and it just is all a snowball effect if people
Right.
can't, be understanding of like the situation.
I was grateful that I was an actor in that situation because like any other job, like trying to do like a desk job when your kid's being born is like, I don't know how you do it. Like as an actor, you're like, I'm just going to set all that aside
Yep.
Yeah.
and I'm just going to be this guy for a
Right,
little bit.
right.
He's got a whole different set of
Right,
problems. I don't
exactly.
have to deal with that.
Exactly.
That's scary.
The stimuli over here, and I'm doing what I need to do. That's
yeah,
easier
I'm
to
going to
just
worry about
boop.
trying to kiss this girl.
Right.
And our kissing scene was when my wife was in
Oh,
labor.
great!
I'd be like,
so
Which
you were
was
just
like-
making out with somebody.
What
That's-
a weird life.
Timing is so silly.
It isn't it though?
So
and so my
silly.
co-star and I would high five after every kiss because like, this is weird.
I would
This
have
is
appreciated
weird.
that from Shay. Because Shay cornered you in like the makeup trailer or wherever, and she just went in and in and in on Sean, and she goes, "Just tell me, is he a kept man?"
Oh, mine? Was I there?
I thought you were there, but I literally remember being like, "Grr!"
Oh yeah.
It was my first like blemish on Shay, and one of the only ones.
I
was
yeah.
like, how can you talk like that?
Oh yeah, I think it's because Sean and I are not anymore, but we were in the beginning. I had a lot of anxiety, still do, but manage it now.
Don't we all?
Yeah, like and I was very codependent with him, and I did not feel safe without him there. Like he was my safety net, and he would write screenplays in my trailer, and we didn't have kids, so it's not like we had to go home and like look after. We didn't have to,
That's exactly every relationship
So
that
he
I've
would just
ever
come
been
and like
in.
we'd make out in the trailer, and he'd like
I will take you and be your chauffeur. I'll be here. I'll be there. You'll be with me. Like
Write
Yeah.
your
that.
screenplays.
You know what I
I just
mean?
wanted to be
And
with
I'm
him
like,
24/7.
Shay, as opposed to you using your FaceTime as a mirror for hours talking to nobody but your boyfriend sitting there.
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
for me, I just needed him there. And I've actually had people diss Sean and my relationship and the perceived, which is not so much anymore because I travel so much, he travels so much. We're not always in each other's pockets, but that perceived codependency. I've still had grown ass adults, like a 45-year-old woman who was supposedly my friend in LA, and she's an artist. She got super drunk, and I think there's something threatening about a guy. Sometimes I feel like really being into his woman. Like my husband is super into me and wants to be around and ask me questions and wants to make sure that like I'm okay and like, do you need anything? And I think that can also put a mirror on relationships when people might not have that. And I'm not saying I'm so cool, but
You are.
but like she
You're
was
pretty
like,
cool.
she came up to me and she got wasted and she was just like, what does he do? He just follows you around. That is her itch to scratch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not
Mhm.
mine
Yeah,
because
what does that say about her?
Yeah.
right. But I find that whatever it's interesting you said that on set because that's happened to me in post pill.
It was and you were. I feel like you were there, but you handled it so like you didn't take any. Like I feel like I took more personal offense. To it.
Yeah.
You literally were just like da da da. Like you answered it really well, and it was something that you had already answered, and she just kept pushing on, and
Yeah.
I hated that. But anyway,
Thank you.
yeah, back to it. Yeah.
Brant, you were saying that you did. How is your mental health now? Is it because you went through
Great.
a period where it wasn't great?
Yeah, I had a bad experience on a set and
That's right.
got diagnosed with all these blah, blah things. And it turns out it was PTSD was what
Holy
it was.
shit.
I had an accident doing a stunt that we should not have been doing, and it went wrong. And then everyone was like, well, time to go. And nobody dealt with it in any way. And I called my manager and he was like, maybe just finish the movie. And I was like, okay, I don't trust these people.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Weren't you underwater?
Yeah. I got hypothermia and almost drowned. Lake in Vancouver. And nobody gave a shit. And so I really, like, I was the kind of guy who would, like, throw me in,
Yeah.
you know, like, put me in, coach. I'll do it, whatever you need. Like, as an actor, as a baby actor,
kinda have
you're like,
to.
whatever you need, I'll
Yeah.
just do it. It's fine. You can kick me in the face, whatever.
Yeah.
I can skateboard.
And these days, I'm like, I'm not doing that shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, so what do you mean? So you're in the middle of this lake, it's freaking cold. You just start to like go under? Like what? I'm so
it was,
sorry, actually.
It was so cold that like I went into shock. Like I started like, and I had a shirtless scene earlier that morning. So I was like emaciated. And I had begged them not to put these things on the same day. And they were like, Rocky, whatever. And so I had like not eaten barely anything. And I went and my body just like shut down. And 10, 15 minutes in the water filming. And I just started to go under and I couldn't get back up.
Did they see you going under?
They were like, yeah, I mean, probably. I don't know. I have no idea.
And
what
they just thought you
saw.
were
I didn't-
just-
But, you know, in like on Pretty Little Liars, you do a lake scene and they have a man-made lake and it's room temperature and there's
Yeah.
Navy SEALs and a dive team
Yep.
and a boat right there and everyone's care. This movie was just like, it's a lake in Vancouver in late October. It'll be fine. Kick them in.
Oh,
And then you look around and you're like, wait, where was the thermal care? Where
you could have
was the
sued
dive
the shit
team?
out of them.
Probably should have.
Yeah.
They're a terrible company.
Jeez.
Because
And they won't work with me again.
you're like, I have
Wow.
Hallmark money, so it's fine. And they don't make me jump into a lake in Vancouver.
They don't.
That makes me so sad. That I hate that. How did you? So you finished the film. What was it like showing back up and?
Shitty. It was horrible.
Yeah.
Just every day was just like, fuck these people.
Mhm.
Yeah. Did you say something to them when you got out? Did you say, I
Oh,
nearly drowned?
I barely made it out and was like shivering and vomiting. Like, they were aware.
Yeah.
They were like, okay, I guess the day's over. Put some towels on him, warm him up. Anyway, see you back tomorrow, 6 a.m. And I just went back to my hotel, just like, I don't think I'm okay.
Yeah.
And then from there, just got worse and worse and developed this PTSD and didn't know what it was. Everyone was like, it's depression. And I'm like, I don't know. Doesn't feel like that, but okie doke.
Yeah.
Have you suffered with depression in your life?
I don't think so.
No?
No. I mean, that's what I thought I was going through.
Right.
But it turns out it's a whole different beast.
Whole different.
But a lot of therapy later. I'm good. Like, we're all good.
Yeah.
And my family is good now. Like, we're, and this was like 3 months into my marriage when this happened.
Oof.
So, like, we had just got married.
Mm.
And it was just like this onslaught of just bad times for a minute.
Yeah.
Do you
But-
suffer from anxiety or no? Or just
Do
like,
I? Yeah. I've had anxiety my whole life, and PTSD is actually kind of an anxiety disorder.
Right.
Mm,
So they probably went hand in hand.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think my anxiety
would
is
not
PTSD.
recommend. 0 out of 10.
0 out of 10.
Yeah,
Fucking
0 out of
terrible.
0 out of
10.
10.
Don't do
Isn't
that.
all mental health in some way? I think my anxiety is definitely
0 out of 10.
Yeah, definitely PTSD.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, I love that.
Yeah. From the home invasion that I was within my boy. Yeah. I mean, and
You
you
had
don't
home
even.
invasion?
Yeah. We'll talk about that on the next episode. But
I had a
that
stroke.
PTSD is
Oh,
for
shit.
when?
No, it was mimicked a stroke, but it was actually this weird.
A giggle fit?
What?
Did you just make that up?
A go fit?
A giggle fit. No.
Oh, a giggle fit.
You're
It
like
was a-
a
it was a real
stroke or a
stroke.
giggle fit. No,
Potato,
they thought it
potato.
was. They thought it was a stroke. I was in the. I couldn't say anyone's name.
Oh, shit.
I couldn't talk. It was. I actually suffer from things called ocular migraines, which mimic stroke symptoms, and they only last if I stop talking or if I start saying weird things, weirder than I usually do.
Right.
Then it's normally that I lose my vision, which is so strange after
Jesus.
playing Jenna. I can't see, I can't talk. It's the scariest thing. It actually happens twice a year, and I don't know when it's going to happen. So my anxiety is always
That's
thinking
fun.
about when's it going to happen. But the craziest thing is it's only 15 minutes.
Wow.
So I lose all my faculties for 15 minutes, and then I'm literally fine. But I didn't know what it was at first.
I'm sure.
It's salvia.
You're like, it's
Tell me your
drugs.
experience on salvia right now.
I've never done salvia. It
Really?
I've seen the videos of it. And like, I'm not like a stranger to things, but like, so it's never been an interest of mine.
I mean, after 2 times I was done. You ever tried salvia?
So that's exactly why, because everyone's like, don't do it.
Yeah.
I don't do drugs,
No, it's
but
awful.
like literally that reason. When you have an ailment that you don't know is going to come on, you just don't want it to happen.
Right.
That's fair.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's fair.
That's why we.
When you have an ailment constantly,
you just try to run away from it. Oh, Brant, this was amazing.
This is so cool.
This
You're so
covered
cool,
just
man.
so much.
And now when people ask me about you, I'll say, yeah, I know that guy.
I know him.
What's his name?
Yeah.
that guy. We know.
Daugherty.
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 Das.
Daugherty, yes.
Daugherty.
Daugherty.
Da.
Da.
Okay.
Yeah. And now you'll know it forever.
Daugherty. I hope. Well, thank you so much, Brant. We
Thank
friggin'
you.
love
We
you,
love
dude.
you.
Having me.
Please
Oh, this was
come
a
back.
blast.
I always wish it could be
When
longer.
the show is the #1 show in pop culture, you're going to come back again.
I'm
Yeah.
deeply
I've
offended.
manifested it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm deeply offended it took me 8 episodes to get on. So bring me back, please. I
Yeah.
have so little to do.
Dude, 8. 8 is the eternal.
Yeah.
And off to Joseph Scott Morgan, our death
We have a
investigator,
death
forensic
investigator
scientist.
who comes on right now to break down the episode.
So unfortunately, you won't be the highlight of this episode, but like you'll be a close second.
That was not what my agent told me.
Oh, she told you to be third?
Hi, Joseph. Hi, Joseph. Hi, Joseph. Joseph Scott Morgan, our favorite former death investigator and forensic scientist, has recorded 200 episodes of Body Bags with iHeart. We adore you. I can't believe you're still here for the ride. Thank you for joining us again.
Glad to be here. Glad to be. Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed hanging out with you guys.
Are we more fun than other people you talk to?
Yes, we are. You know, I hang around a bunch of stiffs all the time.
Hey!
Hey, yo, I'll be here all week.
Nice. I was just about to ask if we were more interesting than the dead.
Listen,
You got
because
it. Love
if
that.
you can't laugh, then you're crying.
Right.
So you better be laughing.
There you go. You have to laugh. You have to laugh.
Can
There's
you
nothing
eat-
wrong. There's nothing wrong with a little dark humor.
Have
you
you,
have to have it.
ever? So when you go and see a dead body, in the morgue, which you've done many times, are you able to still eat? Like, are you able to still drink your coffee?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
a Slurpee?
Yeah.
What's the
Actually,
weirdest thing you've
develop
eaten?
an appetite afterwards. So because I'm working, so you have to be able to separate things out. You know, a little bit. You and it's labor intensive work. It's detailed work, and if you don't have calories on board, you can't do it because you're standing for hours and hours and hours with highly complex cases, and you have to take a break. You have to go eat. You have to take on some nutrients, man, or, it's running a marathon because it's not just your body, it's your mind because you have to stay focused. And you can wind up getting hurt also because you can cut yourself or stick yourself with needles and all those sorts of things in that environment, that you're working in. So it's hazardous and it's complex, because you're looking for, little bits of minute evidence many times, and you have to be on your game. So yeah, I mean, for a long time, I didn't want to go into the morgue with anything on my stomach, and I tried to do that, but
Yeah.
I got to tell you, man, it wasn't good because
Yeah.
I lose focus really, really quickly. That sugar starts to drop with any of us. If you don't eat, you have to remain focused. It's the same thing. I'm not equating myself to a surgeon, but you have surgeons that really take care of their bodies, and the reason they have to is because somebody's life depends on it, and
Yeah.
in our case, evidence depends on it. So
Yeah.
you have to be at the top of your game, man.
So wait, when you're in the morgue, you've got tools, and you're like, what do you do? Forgive me, I haven't seen a lot of films that have morgues as part of the plot. Like, what do you do in there?
Well, it depends on how many cases you have for the day. You determine which case you're going to go with first, and generally it's the most complex. If you've got like a multiple gunshot wound or something that's like really complex from a medical standpoint, you need to go ahead and clear the deck with that one and get it started. And because I've been in a room before where we've had 6 bodies open at one time. They're all kind of lined up, and you're moving between body and body and body, and you really have to maintain your focus as you move through each one. If not, you'll be there for hours and hours. And so you take the ones that are most critical. It's almost like in medicine where they triage people. They determine, who deserves the most immediate care, and you try to decide what's the most critical. And for us, it all revolves around evidence. What's most critical? What do we have to get our hands on? What do we have the opportunity of losing here? If you're talking about like some kind of sexual assault thing, you want to get on it as soon as possible to start everything that we have to do. And you start with the external exam, photography. You do x-rays of dead. We have x-ray machines. We do x-rays. And you do all this before the body is ever opened. And then any kind of trace evidence you have to collect, fiber evidence, tape lifts, nail scrapings, nail trimmings, all those sorts of things. It's highly detailed, and every case is a little bit different because every case requires something unique. I guess probably the most involved case I was ever in, it took us almost 18 hours to do one autopsy, and we had to remove the entire spinal cord intact with the brain intact.
What?
That was a monumental undertaking, and I've never done that before. Haven't done it since then, but we were looking for particular types of anomalies that might have led to this young person's death, and it took a while to do it. And so it's and if you're working at night as an investigator on top of it, which I used to do when I was a young man, you work on very little sleep. It takes its toll on you.
How do you know in multiple gunshot wounds which one was fatal?
You track the wound, and believe it or not, Lindsey, we actually we have probes that we use that are plastic. And well, some people use rods too. I prefer the plastic ones, and you can take them and gently place them into the wound. Now, you're not going to kill the person, obviously, but you don't want to disrupt the track. And so you track the wound. And so you can have, like, if you have multiple gunshot wounds, we might place a probe for every hole or defect in the body and take a picture of the body with these probes sticking out. Okay. Then when you open the body, you have to relate to the entrance wound and try to track it down through what organ systems it passed through. Say, for instance, because somebody's shot in the chest doesn't necessarily mean they're going to die, because you've got some kind of vacant spaces in there that it's going to be difficult and it'll be painful for the individual if they survive, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be fatal, just like an abdominal shot. But if you get a collection of these shots, where you have multiple of them, they're going to be tracking across one another, and you're clipping these little bitty vessels and they're bleeding out. So you have to determine, first off, were any of them shot, were any of these individuals shot after they were deceased? And so there wouldn't be any hemorrhage. So you would discount that one. And then you would look what major organ systems were disrupted. Were they shot through the liver? If shot through the liver, they're going to bleed out pretty quickly. Obviously, if they're hitting the heart, that's going to be devastating. That death is pretty quick. Lung, kind of the same thing, but they will survive or linger for a little while with that. Or if the aorta is clipped, which is the major vessel that supplies the blood with oxygenated, supplies the body with oxygenated blood, if it's clipped, even in the smallest way, it can take you out really, really quickly. So you have to be very, very careful when you're opening the body and appreciate every little nuance that's in there. You have to be completely focused on that and that alone.
Another question. How do people get like pronounced dead? Like I was looking at this thing. Yes, it was on TikTok, but like this lady, no, she was mistakenly thought for dead, locked in her morgue thing. And then when they came back to her, she had bruises and stuff all over her body because she had still been alive and put in there and had then died.
Like, can you stop? Can your heart stop and be pronounced dead?
How does that happen?
Yeah, well, first off, it happens as a result of somebody not paying attention to their damn job. And we, in medical legal death investigation, we actually have what are called the 7 cardinal signs of death. And they're pretty obvious stuff. If the body is rigid, cool to the touch, if they're non-reactive to pain, say, for instance, if I don't recommend anybody do this, but if you were to try to touch your eye, for instance, okay, you're going to flinch. If we have a gloved hand on and we touch the eyeball and there's no reaction to that, then we know that that's one level of being non-reactive to painful stimuli. And there's other ways to do painful stimuli as well. Sternal rubs, where you rub the chest. You'll see EMTs do that when they're trying to wake people up. And also, if you look in the pupils and the pupils are blown, which means they're fully dilated, that gives you an indication of either a severe head injury or that they are in fact deceased. Absent respiration or pulse, and people can have a shallow respiration too. You have to be very careful about that. Then you can have obvious signs of decomposition. That's pretty obvious. But I got a fantastic story if you guys would like to hear it about a case that was exactly like this that happened in Atlanta. And we had a gentleman that had apparently taken his own life and had sat in a warm bath and opened his wrist up with a razor blade. And he had called a friend. He'd been depressed, and the friend had showed up and saw him in the bath, and called 911. Police came out, as did the EMTs, and their default position was, well, call the medical examiner. Well, one of my colleagues went out to the scene and took one of our forensic pathologists that was in training, and she gloved up and walked over to the bathtub. And this guy's in a bathtub that the water is right at the top of the tub, and it's red, as you can imagine. And his wrists are hanging over the side, and you can see where he's injured himself. And as she is bending over to do her examination, the guy's hand went like that.
Oh.
And she jumps back and looks at the investigator. And you'd have to know this guy, the investigator. He was actually a homicide detective all the way back in the early 60s. And he had retired and came to work for the medical examiner. And he kept his hair like Elvis. It was slicked back. He even talked like Elvis. You talk, kind of deep like that.
What?
And when the physician looked at him, his name was Richard, and said, "Richard, he's alive." Richard looked at her and said, "He's alive," like that.
He's alive.
And immediately there was a big cop standing in the hallway, and the physician said, you could have heard Richard in his Elvis voice chewing this guy's ass out.
Yeah.
From all directions, all points outside of the city. It was so loud.
Yeah.
And, get the EMTs here immediately. And I'm happy to say that EMT showed up and pulled this guy out of the bathtub and got him to the emergency room. They sewed up his wrist and transfused him and then put him on the psych unit. He survived and wound up thriving as a result of that, but he could have died. And the rationale behind that, what the EMTs that initially ran the call said, one of them finally admitted, we didn't want to put our hands in the bloody water. And, for me, that sent a chill up my spine. I'm thinking, Jesus, man, I don't want to be in a car accident when you're working the scene.
Yeah.
I don't want to gross you out to the point where you're not going to try to render aid to me. But, that, Lindsey, that example you gave, that's happened a number of times, throughout history.
Right.
Where people have been buried,
right.
have been buried alive. That's why years and years ago, they used to put horns. They would have a horn that would come from the casket up through the ground, and people would scream through the horn if they were not dead. They had bells too.
What?
That they would pull the chain
I knew
on
the bell, but
and ring it if they were
not
still
dead?
alive.
yeah, because they're used. I mean,
It's been a problem.
I can understand it happening then because I knew it kind of happened through history, but
Yeah.
like now, like
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
All it takes is putting the person on EKG and using a stethoscope. And unfortunately, many times people fail to do that. Not many times, but it does happen, and it's terrifying. Absolutely terrifying.
Oh, well, Joe Scott.
man, Joe Scott. Woo!
That was a fascinating episode.
That was so cool.
Yeah.
Thank you once again for
Can't
being
wait
here.
to have you back next week. We're going to talk about some pretty high profile cases.
Yeah.
Come back next week, guys. Thank
Thanks,
you so
Joe.
much for
Can't wait to
listening.
join.
Make sure to hit that follow button on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. See you next week, bitches.